Hey mamas, for the first 8 weeks after a baby is born, it is very difficult for them to regulate their own temperature. Adapting to their environment takes up their whole body's effort and energy. Babies are pretty fragile and vulnerable, especially in the early months when it comes to their relationship with their environment. In fact, it's only at about 18 months to about 2 years old that children are able to really regulate their temperature on their own. And as a parent, it's your job to help protect them from overheating or getting too cold. So in this video, you are going to learn how to dress your baby so that they are safe and comfortable in their environment. I'm Bridget, and I'm a childbirth educator and birth doula in the San Francisco Bay Area, and it's my passion to help mamas just like you believe that they are built to birth, nourish, and care for their babies. If this is your first time here and you're looking for an empowering education on birth, pregnancy, and motherhood, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the little bell so you don't miss any future videos. Playing dress up with our babies is so much fun, but beyond the fun, what they wear actually serves as protection for their vulnerable bodies by helping them regulate their body temperature when they can't do it for themselves. To help you from obsessing and worrying about whether or not you dress them the right way, I'm going to give you 4 tips to go by when you are dressing your baby for the daytime or nighttime. The first tip for dressing your baby is this: assess the environment. Every body responds to their environment differently, so there isn't a one-size-fits-all when it comes to your baby and the temperature. Now, the ideal temperature for a baby's environment to be, whether that's the house, their room, or even outdoors, is between 68 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 to 22 degrees Celsius. But we aren't always able to have that temperature, which is why it's important to assess the environment and your baby and then meet their needs as little individuals. So when you're assessing the environment, you're going to want to ask yourself how you feel in it. If you have a monitor in your baby's room, it's likely that it has the temperature on it. However, it's not always accurate, which is why you'll need to assess the room yourself. Ask yourself, does it feel hot to you or cold to you? Because if you are feeling hot or cold, your baby will be feeling that as well. I know this is a really seemingly basic step, but it's the first one that you need to do to stop obsessing over helping baby regulate temperature and taking proactive measures to actually help them. So assess the temperature of the space that you're in yourself. Don't only rely on a thermometer or a weather report to determine what your baby should wear, because like I said at the beginning, it's not a one-size-fits-all when it comes to regulating your baby's temperature. So once you've assessed the environment they're in and asked yourself how you feel, the second tip is to dress your baby similarly to how you're dressed. If it's a hot summer day out and you're wearing shorts and a t-shirt, then it's likely that all your baby is going to need is their diaper and a onesie on to keep them warm enough but avoid overheating. If by the evening you want to throw on a sweater to stay warm, your baby will likely need something to keep them warm as well. So maybe you're going to put some pants on them now and a little blanket over them too. I know this sounds like really easy stuff again, but it really isn't rocket science. And the more that you trust yourself and the better you get to know your baby, the easier it becomes to dress them appropriately. Now, if it's cold out, think again what you're wearing. If you're wearing pants, long sleeves, jacket, socks, and boots, then your baby is going to need several layers as well. So maybe a onesie with a long sleeve shirt over, they'll maybe need pants and socks and a sweatshirt or jacket with a blanket over them. If you're feeling too hot or cold and your baby is dressed similarly to you, then you know that you need to either dress or undress them a little bit more. Now, when it comes to sleeping, you again want to think about how you are dressed. If you're wearing a warm long sleeve pajama set and sleeping under a comforter, your baby might need a onesie, footed jammies, and a swaddle or sleep sack. After my daughter stopped using swaddles when she could flip from her back to her belly, at which point it becomes dangerous to keep swaddling your baby, we switched to a sleep sack, which is basically a wearable blanket, and I'll link one down below in the descriptions. A swaddle, sleep sack, or blanket counts as another layer, and if you fold a blanket, it counts as 2 layers, so consider that as you are dressing your baby for sleep. Again, when it comes to dressing for sleep, you need to go back to that first step, assessing the environment environment, asking yourself how you feel, because it's likely that your baby feels similar to you. Now, all of these outfits that I have mentioned for baby, if it is hot or cold, are just total suggestions, because like I said, it is not a one size fits all for all babies and the temperatures that they are in. There is no chart that says if your baby is in this temperature, these are the things that they should be wearing, that if a room is this many degrees, this is what you should put them in to sleep, because every baby is different and responds differently to the temperature and the environment that they are in. So while one baby might fall asleep comfortably and safely in a 76-degree room wearing footed jammies and a sleep sack, another baby might need to be dressed in just a onesie when you put them down. And so it really is catered to your baby, and you're going to know them best the more that you just get to know them and how they interact with their environment. And that brings us to the third tip for dressing your baby. Dress your baby with layers. Layers are so great because if they're too warm, all you need to do is to remove one or two things to cool them down. And if they're not quite warm enough, you just put them back on. Layers are the best way to ensure your baby will be warm enough, or if they get too warm, a convenient way to cool them off. Now, obviously, during the warmer months, you're not going to dress your baby in layers right off the bat, but it's a good idea to bring with you a small sweater or light blanket if they need it. So as you're dressing your baby, remember, layers are your baby's friend. So now we're at tip number 4, which is assess your baby. You've assessed the environment, you've dressed them similarly to yourself and either put them in layers or have brought layers with you, and now you can assess your baby to see if they are comfortable. The first thing to look for is, are they acting comfortable? If they're not crying or fussing, that's one good indication that they are comfortable. If their trunk, meaning their back and belly, is warm, not hot, you've gotten it just right. Now, if their hands and feet are a little bit cold, that's actually okay, because even for a lot of adults, we can have cold hands or feet and the rest of us feels totally comfortable. Plus, baby's circulatory system is still developing, which means more blood flow is going to their vital organs such as their heart, kidneys, and lungs, and not as much is going to their extremities. As your baby continues to mature and become more mobile, the better circulation there will be. But still, you want to be checking around their neck, on their chest, and their back to know if they are comfortable and at a good temperature. You also want to assess your baby for overheating. Do they have bright rosy cheeks? Do they have damp sweaty hair? Is their breathing kind of rapid, or are they acting kind of lethargic? Because these are all signs that point to overheating, which means you need to undress some of those layers and cool them off. Overheating is more of a risk for babies because when they're cold, they're just more likely to cry until you warm them up. Overheating causes their body to work really hard to try to cool them down, and that's where the risk lies. So assessing your baby is the best way to know if you have dressed them appropriately. Now, if you're out and about wearing your baby close to you, it's important that you are taking into account body heat. Again, if you are feeling too warm and uncomfortable, they are too very likely. Oftentimes, if you're wearing your baby on a hot day, it's a good idea to dress them really minimally in light, loose clothing, or maybe even just a diaper, since they're going to have an outer covering of the wrap or sling anyways. Plus, they're going to be sharing your body heat. Now, if they're in the stroller or the car seat, sometimes we think that if we drape a blanket over the covering, it's going to block out the sun and keep them cooler. However, this actually traps in more heat and can cause your baby to overheat. So while you do want to keep your baby out of the bright, hot sun, you also want to avoid trapping in extra heat by draping a blanket over their stroller or car seat. Now, if you're layering your baby up during the colder months, you want to be sure to take off that big outer jacket that they're wearing before strapping them into their car seat. And the reason for that is because in order for baby to fit into the harness wearing that big jacket, those straps have to be loosened and aren't actually fitting snugly against baby's body, which is what protects baby in the event of an accident. Again, this is why layers are so convenient, so that even if you have to take off that big winter coat that your little one has on, they still have a few on beneath that keep them warm enough until you strap them in and can put their coat or a blanket over them as they ride in their car seat. As much as dressing your baby isn't rocket science, it's still something you're bound to worry about at some point as a parent. But using these 4 tips, assessing the environment, dressing your baby how you're dressed, layering up, and then assessing your baby is going to help decrease those worries and replace it with confidence that you are a wise parent who knows your baby and trusts that your baby will communicate with you when they need your help. Dressing your baby for warm or cold weather during the day or at night is nothing to obsess about or worry over, and I hope this video has given you the confidence to help you believe that. So thanks for being with me in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.